All right. Hello and welcome to Sound on Sports. We're finally doing it, boys. We're finally getting started. I'm here with my friends Brody and Carson. We'll call him Fatty, not because we body shame, but referencing his last name. We'll start with you, Fatty. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Christmas coming up. College football playoffs just announced today, so it's going to be an exciting end of the year. So I'm pretty hyped.
And Brody, what's up?
Um, you know, I would say I'm doing pretty good, but there's some topics in this video that, they just bring my vibrations down. And we'll get into them obviously, but Seahawks won today, so I guess I'm pretty good.
Well, just for a little introduction, we're just three Seattle sports fans. They're going to yap an hour a week on this platform and, kind of get away from the suit and tie media and get to more of, the fun coverage of Seattle sports. And I guess we can get right underway. I see Fatty's background. We'll go there. Boys, we're fresh off the Seahawks win at the Falcons, I guess. Brody, I'll give you the floor. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Seattle Seahawks dominate the Falcons. I think it was – wait. We're not able to make cuts, right? We're not able to make cuts. This is just like,
dude, we're going live, and the Seahawks won 37-9, dude.
Thank you. So yeah, obviously Seahawks win in a blowout, a giant blowout, 37-9. I mean, by the end, of course, it was a good win, but there's definitely a lot of concerns. I mean, as far as the Seattle Seahawks, we should be crushing these teams, but there are definitely concerns as far as our Super Bowl hopes go. I think the offensive line for me is the biggest concern. I know people like to look at Sam Darnold and his turnovers, which is, true. He's very turnover prone. That's going to be a problem. Of course, he needs to clean that up. But I think a lot of it stems from the offensive line play recently because, of course, at the beginning of the year, for like the first half of the season, the offensive line was very, very solid. And you saw the most explosive offense in the NFL when that was the case. And just especially today in the first half, Sam Darnold could not get anything going because he's constantly under pressure. I thought he was playing fantastic, just moving in the pocket, completely night and day from what we saw from like Geno Smith last year. And once he actually had some protection, like we looked like the offense a little bit. And of course, he finishes with 3 touchdowns, only 1 pick. The pick,
not his fault, by the way.
The pick, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not ideal. Like it is a contested pass, but you got a 6'5" tight end on a corner. Throws it, so it can high point the ball. I mean, I like that odds there. I don't hate that attempt. So, I mean, if that's what we're kind of bashing Sam Darnold over, I mean, that's kind of like I'll take that over, his 4 interception meltdown games, right? So that's the only thing for me. Other than that, just fantastic from the Seahawks, like we have been most season. So.
Yeah, no, it was a great win. Obviously, going into half with it being 6-6, you kind of had some eyebrows of raising to be maybe a trap game on the road early in Atlanta. I mean, I definitely think I agree with Brody there about the offensive line being a huge concern, not only just kind of the lack of depth and, that is our weak point, with the guards there, but it also kind of reveals Sam Darnold's weakness, which is throwing on the run and making decisions when under pressure. I know Clint Kubiak's been mentioning the past couple of weeks. He is turnover prone when he's trying to force the ball and make some bad reads there. I think our defense is elite. I think it's the best in the NFL, and that's just a non-biased take there because, for example, Sam Darnold throws that interception, in plus territory for the Falcons, and it turns into a blocked field goal. That being said, I think the defense, getting healthier, getting Julian Love and Ernest Jones and Uchenna Nwosu's finally putting together a nice, healthy season. I think, they're just such a dominant force. And it allows the offense to really kind of figure themselves out throughout the game, and I think that's really important. It's awesome to see the running game going with Zach Charbonnet today. JSN obviously still producing at a high level, but it's also great to see the emergence of Rashid Shaheed. I was listening to the game on the radio briefly, and you could just kind of tell the vibe from him today was a more high octane. And he's kind of settled into a nice role within this offense. Obviously, the great kick return to get us started in the second half. So I was really proud, the way the Seahawks closed that one out in dominating fashion. And I think that, closing out the year, they're in really good shape.
Brody, if you had to rate the offense 1 to 10, how confident are you in this team? Let's say second round of the playoffs, big game. Are you concerned at all, or you have full confidence in the team?
I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned. Obviously, if this team wins the Super Bowl, it's going to be on the back of the defense. It's going to be on the offense to not mess it up. Pretty much, that's kind of what we're hoping for here. I will say, like Carson said about Rashid Shaheed, I just liked seeing him get more integrated as far as just actual routes that he's running. Obviously, when we first got him, he was more like a gadgety type guy, getting a bunch of manufactured touches. But we really saw him run some real true wide receiver routes. Obviously gets that big gain, most notably on that crosser deep downfield. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. And honestly, I'm surprised it took this long, to be honest, because Kubiak was the OC from the New Orleans Saints, obviously, when we got him, and he had Rashid Shaheed, and he was playing fantastic there. But his emergence definitely gives me more confidence in the offense. But to me, I'm still out of 10. I'm still at I guess I would say a 7 out of 10, probably. Obviously the offense is very, very good, but there has been games where it looks a little shaky. It all culminates in that 4 turnover game in the biggest game of the season. So for that reason, I can't be at a 9 or a 10 in confidence, man. I'm sitting at a 6, maybe a 7. Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely agree. I think the huge part about it is the offense just continues to stall in the red zone, not having effective packages to score from 25 yards in and having to settle for field goals. I know that was our caveat against the 49ers in week 1, and then, our fateful loss in Los Angeles. So, but even in games where we've pulled it out, in lesser dominating fashion, i.e. our game against the Jaguars. It's just we make mistakes and we're beating ourselves up by settling for 3 or none, being a little too conservative with it. I think another thing to note is Mike McDonald's clock management. I love him as a coach. He's been amazing, almost flawless in my opinion. But there has been moments, to close out a half or to close out a quarter where, we could push the gas pedal a little bit, but instead we're settling for 3. Case in point today, the game is 3-6. And, we're getting the ball at the 30-yard line and, we're just tick, 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 tick. We had over a minute and a half and all 3 timeouts, and we end up only getting to the 40-yard line. And Jason Myers having a great season, probably a special teams all-pro there, bailing us out there. But, we're going to live and die by how efficient we're going to be as an offense. And I think we need to kind of stray from being one-dimensional in the past, and we need to develop a run scheme as well for when those blitzes are coming and Darnold's not as sharp. But yeah, I'm right on par with Brody. I think it's about a 6, maybe even a 5 at some cases.
Could you make the argument that Jason Myers is our most valuable player this year? Because there's been games where that man has single-handedly won those games.
Yeah, no. I mean, we've put him in some tough spots. I mean, he's definitely not our MVP, but having a good kicker is a luxury in the NFL, even in college as well. So having the ability to say, listen, we can only get to the 35-yard line here, but we need points, and him being almost automatic from 50 out. So he's been a valuable player. I'm not sure most valuable, but like I mentioned, I think he's a Pro Bowler. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only real thing about Myers for me is, well, obviously the Bucs game misses a field goal. I mean, you're not going to make every field goal, right? So it's not going to blame the entire game against the Bucs on a missed field goal. But for me, it's just the distance. For example, I mean, against LA, 60-yarder, 61-yarder, just not even close. And I just feel like Myers over 55 yards is it's almost like he can't even get it there sometimes. And
how stupid is that, though?
And the big 2025 is kind of crazy. I'm just saying, dude.
This is so stupid that our conversation right now is I'm so frustrated that our kicker is not consistent at 55 plus.
Yeah,
kickers are
spoiled.
Stupid, dude. What? That is so dumb. If you would have said even 8 years ago that Brody's sitting here complaining about our kicker not being able to hit a 55-yard field goal regularly, you'd be like, shut up. House goes the GOAT. What are we doing?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of kicking and Seattle, the U.S. and the World Cup is getting underway, and it's getting closer and closer as we are kicking off next summer. The groups have been drawn the past weekend, and obviously with games being hosted in Seattle, there's been a little controversy of whether they would be hosted in the city. But what are your guys' reactions to the draw?
I'll start, Brody. In terms of for the U.S., I love the draw. In terms of the games in Seattle, kind of bummed out. But in terms of the big teams that we'll see in Seattle, we get to see a U.S. play, which that's always awesome. We knew that was going to happen.
Massive nation, by the way. Top 5 nation in the U.S. when it comes to soccer. So massive.
Yeah, that is true. I would rank U.S. in the top 5 of American soccer
objectively.
But as for some of the games to be here, it'll be Belgium, Egypt, obviously that U.S. game against Australia. Qatar will be playing against probably Italy. We'll see. Then Egypt versus Iran. And then the cool part is the round of 32, but that round of 16 game could be U.S. again. And that would be electric to see a knockout U.S. World Cup game in Seattle. Get to see the Seattle fans ball out. Brody's grinning because he doesn't think it's going to happen. But that'd be insane to see. And then as for the draw for the U.S., we can skim over that real quick. I think U.S. should win this group. Australia is not going to be an easy win, but we beat them recently. We'll probably have Turkey as that third team. That won't be an easy win, but I would expect us to pull it off at home. And then Paraguay, like I said, we should win.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to thank President Trump for just rigging the group. We got probably the easiest group out of anybody. Maybe Mexico has an easier group. But, yeah, I mean, this is a group that the U.S. should top. I mean, World Cup in your own backyard, and you have to go against Paraguay and Australia and, maybe Turkey, probably Turkey. But, it's just you couldn't have asked for a better draw. And these are obviously 2 teams being Paraguay and Australia, teams we faced recently, handled pretty comfortably with not our best squad. I don't even think Pulisic, I know he wasn't playing against Paraguay. Yeah. I don't even think he played against Australia either. He might have, but either way,
Turkey, we had a weak team in that Turkey game, so it's like
yes. So it's a group that we should top. Obviously, you got to hope the boys are going in to the World Cup on form. And speaking of on form, J. Ross, do you think final roster? Do we see Christian Roldan's name?
100%. Dude, why is this even a conversation? Why is it even a talking point? Roldan's been balling out. Club World Cup, balled out against the best in the world. MLS, arguably our best player this year. I think that's been a pretty good top. Yeah, our best player.
Yeah.
And Christian Pulisic's best friend. If you were to make a list of things that require you to be on that U.S. team, that's on there. So I think that we are going to see one of our own playing on our own soil in Lumen Field, which will be electric. It would have been pretty cool if we could have matched up against a team that had another sounder, but we'll take it seeing the real CR7, right? Portugal would have been cool to see, but we get to see the real CR7, Christian Roldan, play at home. And last thing on the draw, that whole draw was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I was watching a noon stupid satellite TV game show, dumb flash, so stupid. I don't even know how to describe it.
I don't know how to describe it. They tried to make it like an American award, like the ESPYs almost, except you had, instead of Shane Gillis, you had Rio Ferdinand doing skits and telling jokes. The least charismatic person I think I've ever heard speak in my life. It was so bad. And they're just oh, who's America funny guy? Oh, Kevin Hart. Cool. Yeah, let's just throw him in there. And then, poor Wayne Gretzky, man, just can't even utter a sentence at this point. It was rough. Tom Brady can't even open the fucking balls to draw names. It's dude, this is so bad. And then Donald Trump drawing the U.S.'s name. I knew he was going to be there. I had no idea he'd give a fucking speech and then also draw.
I'm not the biggest fan of politics and sports colliding, but that's a different thing. I will say it should have been Cal Raleigh, not Aaron Judge, yet again. But we can leave that.
And that too. And that too.
It should have been Cal. Exactly. It should have been Dumpy up there, not this Judge guy.
Yeah.
Jokes.
No, yeah, I know. I'm excited though. I mean, I know it's been rumored to be in Seattle for quite some time. I really think that Seattle is kind of on the lower scale, more of a soccer city. I think it's always been a great soccer community. I've always heard great things about, Sounders home games and being in Lumen and things like that. So I'm glad that the city is getting its much deserved recognition, and I'm really excited. I hope everything is safe down there. I know there was some safety concerns, kind of talking more on like the political side of things. And, I just hope for obviously the U.S. to perform pretty well in front of the home crowd and see where they can go in the tournament.
It just feels like this could be a sneaky like fraud checked group. Like I don't want it to happen, and I don't think it will. But just like there's so much expectations on the USMNT in 2026. Every one of our top players are like in their prime or just entering their prime. This is like the year. I'm not saying USA has to go win the whole damn thing, right? USA should comfortably top their group, should comfortably make it out of the round of 32, I believe. And then hopefully making like to a quarterfinal or something. Like that's realistically the goal. And I'm like very concerned that this group's gonna not get there. But like the worst case scenario would just be to get absolutely fraud checked and just like grouped out of the tournament completely, man. Like Copa, like it's sitting there in the back of my mind, dude. I think it's from Copa America, maybe.
We don't have Berhalter. We're good. Calm down.
Yeah, and but I will say, dude. But okay, on the before you keep going, we don't have Berhalter, but let's not act like Poch has been, sensational. I mean, the last window was very good. We'll have to give him that. That was his best window by far. But before that, it was looking pretty rough. Man.
It's not his fault. He didn't know who he was putting on the team. He didn't know like 8 American soccer players before he got the job, dude. He was like, what? He just figured. He didn't know Orlando City was a club until like 8 months ago, probably, dude. He was figuring all that out. We're good now. Now we can get soccer going. But I think now is a good time for us to shift off the field. For sure. We can get onto the ice a bit. The Kraken. That we stink again. We're poopy again, and it sucks because
what is going on? Because the start seems so promising. Now the Kraken have dropped their last 4, and then they've dropped 4 in the last, I think, like 12 or 13. What is happening? As our resident Kraken guy, Jaros, what is happening to this team? It looks so promising.
Well, one, we like stopped being a Lane Lambert team. Like historically, he just plays boring hockey. He wins games 2-1. You aren't flashy. You don't get scored on a lot. And all of a sudden, the Kraken just can't keep the puck out of our net. And to this point this year, we've just found a way to get the timely goal. Like we've been the comeback kids over and over again. Late winner. I mean, we've been down 3-0 late and came back. And all of a sudden, we just kind of lost that. We tried to do it last night against the Red Wings as we're filming this the day after. But even then, we got scored on by Kane with like 2 minutes left. Like the Kraken have just sort of lost the ability to keep the puck out of their net. And I mean, when we're filming this, we've let in 4, 9, and 4 goals. Not the best. And
terrible.
Historically, you'd be like seeing, getting dominated by the Oilers, but the Oilers stink too. So it's like, what are we doing? Getting shut out by the Oilers is scary, by the way. And I think we're really just starting to see what the flaw of this Kraken team is, which is that high-end scoring, where it's like, okay, now when we don't have that ability to keep the puck out of our net at a high level, we also don't have that guy that can go just score consistently on this team. We've had McCann out a lot, which he's supposed to be that guy. But in terms of when you look at all of the high end, all the best teams in the NHL, all the fringe playoff teams, even in our own division, like if you look in the Pacific, they might be young guys, but the Ducks have tons of those studs now. The Golden Knights are the Golden Knights. The Kings even have a guy like Kempe. I'm not going to talk about the Oilers. The Sharks have Celebrini, Will Smith. Kraken don't really have that guy where if you were to ask some dude in Nashville or New York, who scares you on the Kraken? The Kraken don't really got that, which we have depth on the back end, which is nice, but I think we need to go get some goals. And at this rate, I'm getting scared because if we keep plummeting like this, we're not going to be buyers at the deadline. We're definitely going to be sellers again, which is kind of lame because we have the draft capital to go get a guy, and I'm worried we're going to wait too long to go do that.
Well, and that's what I mean. I know we talked about this a little bit ago as we were kind of nearing the top of the Pacific, but we just had to give it time for teams to legitimatize themselves. And this is a tougher division on paper than a lot of people in hockey, can see. I mean, we're starting to see it kind of level out, and with the Kraken kind of sitting sixth in there. I mean, you can't afford to have a stretch of play like this consistently if you're the Kraken. I mean, and the huge part about it is getting McCann back. That was supposed to be great. That was supposed to be kind of your go-to goal scorer. And then right when we get him back, obviously Schwartz is now sidelined for 6 weeks. So the Kraken can't catch a break getting healthy, but also the special team struggles is something that has been a glaring issue for Seattle. I mean, as of right now today, they rank 22nd in power play percentage and 31st in penalty kill. That costs them momentum completely. It allows games to get out of hand, and it is just, you cannot have a stretch where you're losing these narrow games against Detroit 4-3, but then also getting boat raced by Connor McDavid 9-4 there. So it's just unacceptable. And that's where, you kind of see the depth issues. It's a younger team with some depth issues. And at this point, I think the strategy should be stay above water in the Pacific and kind of coast to the trade deadline. And you could be buyers, but you don't necessarily have to go out and get someone crazy at the deadline, but just kind of fill the spaces there that are in your top six lineup, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a star that we're spending a ton of draft capital on. Let's see what we have. And if a team comes with us, if a team comes to us with a trade for an expiring contract, I don't think the Kraken should shy away from that because they already have the draft capital. If you get, you're getting some cap space off the books, and it allows for some sustainable success there.
Yeah, the penalty kill, especially that Red Wings game. How we're getting multiple fast breaks on us on the penalty kill is insane to me. We're getting caught. It was disgusting. And in terms of who to bring in, I keep hearing the name. It's just me talking. The Kraken have repeatedly keep looking at Jordan Kyrou on the Blues, and the Blues GM keeps saying they want to sell him. I think that's a guy that would slot into this team perfect. Exactly what we want. Can score some goals and has a pretty contract. If we can go get a guy like in that realm, I feel like that is very Seattle Kraken and very Seattle Sports-esque, where he's not the huge superstar, but that tier below, where on this Kraken team he would be our huge superstar. But I don't know. I don't have much faith. But yet again, we saw a couple off seasons ago the Kraken go and spend some money. I mean, we went and splashed some cash to get Montour into this team to go get a Chandler Stevenson. So Kraken historically have been not scared to go get some kind of in that pool, not the biggest names, but that tier right below it.
For sure. It's going to be interesting to see how they close out the year, or I guess the calendar year, not the NHL year.
Still lots of hockey left. We're not in a bad spot.
I was going to say, leading up the next few games seems like a mildly tough stretch, but then you got all the way that's leading up to the Avalanche, of course, who are fantastic right now. What do you think are the odds that the Kraken can turn around, and what do you think are the most important things the Kraken need to do with what they have? Obviously, talking about making moves and stuff, but just with the players they have in-house right now, what's the most important? What are the key things that we have to do to get back on track?
Getting healthy and staying healthy. I mean,
100%.
that's essentially what it's got to be. I mean, this core, has to be firing on all cylinders based on, not having that, household name star player. You're going to have Schwartz and McCann on the ice. You're going to, at the same time, you can't just take 6 weeks of PTO for both of them to, I mean, I know they've just been hurt and banged up. They got to get healthy and stay healthy.
Same with Capo Caco. He keeps sputtering where right when he gets back, he keeps getting hurt. That's a scary sight to see. But on top of that, to get back to playing good, I mean, it's just fixing the simple things like the little dumb mental errors like me talking. Quit simping, fellas. But no, I mean the Kraken just give up way too many dumb goals where it's kind of just that getting caught, whether it be getting caught in a change, fast break, or a dumb turnover, like stuff like that where it's, I don't know, that's not really how Lambert wants this team to play. And there's no reason why we're letting 9 goals in. Like Kraken plus 5.5 should not be a scary bet to place, but right now it's a very scary bet to place. So we'll see whether it just be, blocking shots, getting in the lane. Kraken seem to kind of be moving away from that, and Kraken are at their best when they're keeping the puck out of their net, getting gritty and getting dirty. But all right,
good
well,
stuff.
I think we move on. Let's go to the baseball diamond then. I guess we go that way.
For sure.
We can go to the first of two Seattle teams that have been pretty buzzing in free agency in the offseason right now. And I guess let's talk about the Mariners. We're fresh off the trade. Fatty, we'll go to you. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you hate it?
I mean, on the eve of the winter meetings, and for people who might not know the baseball calendar for free agency, the winter meetings are coming up this week, and I would expect a lot of different transactions via free agency and trade. It's basically once a year when all the GMs get together in Vegas this year, and they're going to be in conference and just kind of, meeting with each other. There's been a lot of moves that have been historically happening during this time, and on the eve of the winter meetings, the Mariners decide to part ways with one of their top prospects, Harry Ford, and in return we acquire Jose A. Ferrer, a left-handed reliever, 25 years old. He's got 4 years of free club control. Obviously it was a shock to see Harry Ford get flipped almost 1-for-1 in this deal with for a reliever that had a 4.38 ERA last year. But kind of peeling back the onion here, I made some noise on the post of welcoming Jose, saying casuals will hate the move, and I was attacked by casuals that don't understand what's going on with Harry Ford's market there. I think a lot of people saw Harry Ford as a top prospect, and for a really long time, I mean, he was selected in the first round in 2021. And he had a lot of great qualities to him. Some people were saying he's a 5-tool player. He really did have some power in AAA, and then he obviously is plus speed for a catcher. His defense was there. I mean, he played catcher through the entire Seattle Mariners farm system. He made every single stop. And his plate discipline, the way the Mariners developed him, and just how he is as a player, he's very, very disciplined. But the fact of the matter is he had no spot on the team. With Cal Raleigh being an MVP candidate and the best catcher in baseball, there really isn't that much playing time for a backup catcher in the MLB. And I think MLB teams are starting to notice that. And Harry Ford has been floated around for multiple trade deadlines. And I think that we are starting to see how other teams evaluated Harry Ford as a player. As a young prospect in Everett, I mean, he was a top 10, top 15 prospect. And then as he got older and stuck in the minors, he slowly fell down to, I believe it was 46th at the time of when we were trading him. So he wasn't necessarily going to yield that much at the older he got. And I think that's what a lot of Mariner fans are not understanding, is less of who we acquired, more as who we traded away. Who we acquired checks a box that the Mariners needed to fill, and it was glaring closing out into the postseason. We needed another left-hander. Gabe Spire was great during the regular season, but really struggled in the postseason, being the only lefty in the pen. Having another lefty in the pen is going to be huge for the workload, because usually closing out the games, it was, okay, Spire, Bizzardo, Brash, Munoz, done. We need a little bit more variety there. And I think Ferrer, you kind of look at his face value with that ERA, and it's kind of glaring. And I did it first as well, but he ranks in the 95th percentile in ground balls. Outside of Nationals Park, which is a hitter's park, he had a 2.15 ERA, so that's going to be great. His fastball is kind of like a bowling ball motion. If you go look at his highlights, it kind of just sticks in there, and it's 100 miles an hour. So I'm really intrigued about what the Mariners pitching staff can do with his raw ability, and I think it's a developmental piece that is going to pay off.
Yeah, so, Carson, what I wanted to ask you is, in the next 2-3 years with this core guys that we got, who do you think is going to help you push for a World Series right now? Is it going to be the backup catcher, or is it going to be a good high leverage lefty that is of great importance to a Seattle bullpen that was needing something like that? What is going to help us in the immediate future?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There was plenty of ways I tried to fit Ford on the roster in my head. I thought that maybe Cal could shift more toward DHing. But an important thing to note also that I don't think a lot of Mariners fans realized either is you go look at Cal's extension for 6 years, $100 million. And you have to realize there is an incentive bonus if he catches 120 plus games a year. So he's always going to be trying for that monetarily, but he also took pride in almost catching the bulk of the season. So I think Harry needed a team like the Nationals to put him behind the backstop and give him consistent ABs to develop as a player. I don't necessarily think he's a prospect bust, but I just didn't see a way that he fit on our ball club. I wanted to see what he could do in left field this year, and I thought that was a realistic possibility with his speed and his potential arm there, but it just never materialized. And I think that, Jose Ferrer is going to be good in my opinion, but that's not guaranteed with his track record there. So I didn't necessarily think we acquired an all-star, but I think what people need to realize as well is there isn't a lot of lefty relievers that we can get for, not a pretty penny there. I know Josh Hader and Tanner Scott and things like that, but we got to evaluate the market with what we needed. And so I would rather fill a lefty reliever than a backup catcher. A backup catcher is something we could fill within 15 minutes. I mean, we have Mitch Garver in our backyard, and we could re-sign him to something very low cost, or, just kind of scour the league and see where we can find a defensive first catcher that's going to play twice a week. It's not going to be do or die, and people just need to understand that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, with this addition, it's making a move to help the team win now. And I don't understand why people are so hung up over this guy. And it's like Harry Ford's a good dude, good prospect, but it's like as soon as he leaves, everyone's kind of hyping him up to be like this insane prospect all of a sudden. It's like he's a good prospect, but let's not go overboard here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he needs a team that can put him at catcher. And he's going to hit sixth in their order, and I think he's going to be great. And I'm rooting for him. He's a great guy, great player. I unfortunately never had the chance to meet him during my time in Arkansas, but he's a great player, great guy, and I'm excited that he finally gets his opportunity because from his perspective, obviously grinding through the minors and then all of a sudden the guy in front of you is going to be the AL MVP. It's kind of disheartening. So. I'm wishing Harry nothing but the best, but I don't think the Mariners are necessarily done this offseason.
So I'll go to that. You talked about his ground ball rate. Where are those ground balls going to right now? Because I think we're still questioning third and second for the Mariners. Yeah. Do you trust what we have right now? Do you think we're going to go make a move before opening day? Or are we just going to grind it out with Williamson and Young as the other two members of the infield?
Well, I think there's a couple options out there. Obviously, the Mariners are trying to target Jorge Polanco for a return. What I've heard is that both sides are definitely interested, but obviously the money is something that is really pulling a deal apart from really ever materializing there. And that's fine. If Jorge wants to play, the free agency market, he had a great back half of the year. And I think he's going to have a lot of offers. And if he, wants to take a little bit more money, he should, with the way his injuries have been plaguing the back half of his career. But I think there's a few names to keep an eye on here. Two realistic names that come to my head are Brendan Donovan and Brandon Lowe. Brendan Donovan being the St. Louis Cardinals and Brandon Lowe being, Lau of the Tampa Bay Rays. I think those are two cost-effective trade rentals that both hit from the left side. They both got some pop. They both can play second base very efficiently. And I think the prospect cost, you're looking at probably one high-end prospect and then maybe another one or two prospects, maybe. I would actually, I'll walk that back a little bit. I think it's going to be one of our top 10 prospects and then another prospect there. So it would take two prospects, but that is what I'm rooting for. I would like to see either Donovan or Lau there. I think it's a great fit for the Mariners. It's two guys that the Mariners have been tracking for a long time. The Mariners and the Rays are, historic trade partners. They've made about 18 trades in the past 5 years. So I think that might be a little bit more realistic. But if we want to swing for the fences and the rumors are there, we might reacquire Ketel Marte, but that is going to be a pretty penny. I don't know if the Mariners fan base could take it because obviously trading Harry Ford sent them into a temper tantrum, but it is going to take a lot of premium to get a former NL MVP. But all three of those could be great options externally. But I think if we had to open up opening day with Cole Young at second and Ben Williamson at third for a little bit, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think with the World Baseball Classic coming up in March, I think they're going to get a lot more reps to play on the Mariners spring team. So they're going to be hot out the gates. I also think that's a great case for Cole Emerson to make the team as well right out of the gate. But I project him to probably come up in May. So there's a lot of different ways we could approach the offseason and the way our roster is constructed. But I think right now our priority is definitely filling up that second base and backup catcher need. And I would love to see another move at the end of the week, but I would think it probably comes with probably January or February.
Well, I was going to ask you about Colt Emerson next, but I guess you answered my question. I was just asking if you think we'll see him this year and when we will see him, but I guess either opening roster or some point in May is what you're thinking.
Yeah, very, very excited for his development. He's a left-handed, just mashes the ball. He's got a great arm at shortstop. I would love to see him at shortstop. It seems like we're going to be a little stopgap there for at least the next year, but I'd love to see him at third base. But yeah, like I said, with Julio and Randy and Naylor and Luis and Andres and maybe even Matt Brash gone at the WBC, we're going to see a lot of young Mariners getting a lot more ABs this spring. So it's going to be great to kind of see what you got there. I never trust spring stats, but I think they'll hold them off to May, because if you hold them off until May, you get an extra year of service time. So that is probably what the Mariners are going to be doing, and I'll support struggling that out. But from an organizational standpoint, wanting to retain Colt Emerson, it's what you got to do.
Well, I vote we now turn up Brody's temperature a little bit and officially piss him off and start talking about the Sounders free agency / off-season discussions.
Or lack thereof, huh?
Yeah. I think the best way to go is, Brody, go ahead and rant for a bit, and then we'll see where you go from there.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I want to start off is I want to talk about just like the whole Paul Rothrock situation. Okay, and if those of you who are watch me on RGTV, you guys know Paul Rothrock and me, got a little bit of a thing
Hatred
going on here. I wouldn't say hatred. I would just say when you really want to punch someone in the face. No, I'm kidding. No, listen, Paul Rothrock, when he came burst onto the scene, obviously Houston Dynamo CEO, of course, we can't forget those moments. I don't actually hate Paul Rothrock. What I don't like is the reactions I'm seeing from the fan base about him coming back. Obviously, would it be nice to have him back? In an ideal world, would it be cool to have a homegrown player who just came from nothing, made his way to the big leagues, and was impactful all the way up until an actual cup final? It would be cool to see him back, right? But when we're actually being realistic about it, what he's asking for, no competent MLS team, no championship caliber MLS team is actually going to pay that money. And I think a lot of MLS fans, and I understand, because the salary cap is so difficult to understand. Like J.R. Ross and I talk about all the time, you could make a whole college fucking course on it, and you probably still wouldn't fully understand it. But just to put it simply, there's roster spots called a designated player. You get 3 of them, right? You can pay them however much you want. They hit the salary cap at a fixed amount of $651,000 or something like that. Then obviously you got TAM money, people where you can use the TAM dollars to pay their contract if they're over the senior squad budget, right? So Paul Rothrock is asking for one of those, if not pretty damn close, I would imagine, because, for example, a regular senior squad player salary is $650,000, right? I mean, that's guys like Musovski, guys like JP, who practically did nothing. I in my mind, there's no way the Sounders haven't offered that contract. To me, that's if the Sounders are truly lowballing him to $200,000, then fair enough. Okay, I can understand the outrage, but I from what it sounds like, the Sounders are offering around that senior squad money, maybe even a little bit higher. I don't know. and he's wanting a lot more than that, like a lot more than that. And there's it's to the point where like we're not even in discussion with him right now. And fans just like they don't understand, to build the team that you want us to build, you got to make sacrifices. You can't pay bums DP money. Look at what happens. We're paying a bum DP money right now. Unfortunately, Jordan Morris, legend of the club. Okay, right? But let's be real here. He's not a designated player anymore. It's 2025. And you can't afford to pay someone like Rothrock that money or TAM money. When we won the MLS Cup in 2019, Jordan Morris at his prime, that was our TAM. That was our TAM, right? And you had designated players beyond that, right? Going from prime Morris to Rothrock as a TAM player while everyone else is going up and we are going down. Oh my God. Like, what are we talking about here? And it's not a matter of like, we don't want Rothrock back. It's like, dude, you're asking for so much money that like, we can't bring you back. And it reminds me of like the Seahawks when Geno Smith got traded. It's like, we were prepared to have him back. Right. And then he goes, I want $500 million. And we're like, yeah, no, we'll take a 3rd round pick. It's kind of like we wanted Rothrock. Do you think we wanted to get rid of him? No. But he's asking for so much money. The valuation is so far apart where it's not like we're kicking him in the curb. He wants to leave, fans. You need to get that through your head. He wants to go. He wants money. He wants to go. He's not this like, oh, Seattle ride or die no matter what. No, he wants to be paid. And I understand that. Of course you want to be paid, right? But we need to stop acting like we're doing this giant disservice to Rothrock. And it's just more like, hey, he thinks he's worth this. We don't think he's worth that. We think he's about here. And it's just two people going, a club and a player going their separate ways. It's not the end of the world. And out of any Craig Weibel move, this might be the smartest thing he's done. And it's not like a very high bar, but you're not going to – okay, maybe not. He did pay Jordan Moore. He did pay Jordan Moore's DP money. But you know what I mean? Like, this is not a move that it's not killing me. It's not making me, bash my head through a wall and be like, Rothrock, no! It's fine letting a guy go if you think she's worth a lot of money. It's fine. We're going to survive. I promise you. We have a lot of depth. If people forget about Paul Arriola, who we traded for and re-signed, right? We've got Georgie, who's a budding star in this league. De La Vega when he comes back, of course. Jesus Ferreira. Like, we're loaded in that position. We don't need to overpay somebody. And also Jordan Morris playing a lot of wing in the playoffs, by the way. So I suspect we'll see a lot of that too, with Masowski and D-Row getting more opportunities. Maybe even a move to get a striker up top. I don't know. But there's a lot of depth in that position. And to me, it's just not worth overpaying a guy like that. Am I wrong here? What do you think? Am I a hater? Is this a hater take?
Well, those are two separate questions. I think you are right, but you are also a hater. Like, both can be true.
That's true. Yeah, that's not an either or thing. You're right. Okay.
But no, I agree. I mean, if Rothrock is asking for that as much money as the reports are saying, yeah, like, you got to let him walk at that point. Who knows? Maybe he'll go hit free agency and then he'll realize that there isn't that money on the table. Supposedly Nashville's going in after him, which kind of supports what you said, because Nashville is the definition of one of those teams that's a playoff team, but they're not a cup contender. Like, no one's. If Hani Mukhtar is not playing on God tier, then no one's really that scared of Nashville.
Yeah, like in big trouble.
So, yeah, but looking at some of the other looks of the Sounders, I'm just confused. Like, I don't know how else to describe, but confused, because I don't know what's going on with the Obed situation. Like, I don't know where our head's at, because now we just sold Danny Leyva for not. I don't know. I've seen reports it's over $1 million. I've seen reports it's under $1 million. I don't really know. There's been so much lost in translation. Apparently, it's hard to go from Spanish to English. Guess that's apparently not a common translation. Would think it is, but I guess not. But with Leyva gone, does that mean Obed's not leaving, you think? Or do you think we're going to hold on? If we hold on to Obed and he walks on a free, I might give up. This might be done. I might move.
He's fired. Weibel's fired if that happens, right? Like, you can't come back from that. That would be one of the most devastating losses any team has ever had in league history. Like, it would be so bad. And I respect that you gave me so much time to rant, but about this club, you could just go on and on and on. about this offseason. First of all, Danny Leyva, let's look at the facts, okay? Danny Leyva was on a $300K contract, and he was playing over JP, who was making $600K. He was on a very cheap deal, very cheap, and he's ascending. Danny Leyva this year is his best year as a pro, in my opinion. He took a big leap from last year. Okay, so that's one fact. Another fact: Obed Vargas has a club option, free agent after that, had his best season as a pro, and he's one of the most talented young players in the league. Actually, the most talented young player in the league. If you look
No
at
bias. No bias.
No bias. But actually, though, MLS, what was it, top 22 under 22 or whatever?
Yeah, there you go.
He was number one. So I'm just saying. But
statistically speaking, we're not biased.
Yeah, exactly. We are biased, but we're not. So
we're not.
And then another fact is Obed Vargas had offers for Obed Vargas, good offers. It's been reported several times by several different trusted reporters. So in my mind, it makes sense. Okay, if you get this giant offer for Obed Vargas and you have a young ascending player on a cheap deal, cheap long-term deal, you sell the guy who wants to leave, who's about to be a free agent, and then you just give the other guy the run in his position. That's what makes sense, right? But what it's looking like, which God forbid, and I'm not going to make any judgments now because there's still a lot of time. What it is looking like is, yeah, let's actually fuck you, Danny Leyva. Let's actually never see you again. JP, yeah, cool. Let's never see you again. And Obed Vargas, if you want to dip, cool, dude. Whatever, dude. We don't need your money anyways. We don't need your $15 million, Obed Vargas. We don't need to get that for you. You can fucking leave too. And that is worst case scenario. And J-Ross, I'm terrified. When Sean from RGTV, when we talked about this and we're it's way early. It's sometime during last season. And we're talking about, the Obed Vargas situation. And Sean's talking he was the first one to kind of bring up the possibility of us letting him go for free. I'm yeah, dude, no
that'd be
chance.
Too stupid. We were that's too dumb. No, we're not that dumb. Stupid.
It is so beyond dumb. We shouldn't even just talk about it. It's a waste of words coming out of our mouth. And now we're at a point where on the panic meter of Obed Vargas walking for free, I'm at a 5 or a 6 right now.
Mom, pick me up. I'm scared type of feeling right now. This is
yeah, it's just you're kind of in the corner of the room and you're okay, I don't like what's going on here. I think maybe we should go home. Yeah. No, I mean, to me, the only thought is like you said, we can't be this dumb. That's the only thing kind of keeping me going. We can't be this stupid. If we're fine selling Danny Leyva for nothing and letting JP go, to me, this is screaming Obed Vargas, we're close to an extension, And at least with the extension, even if we end up selling him and replacing him, we're not going to let him go for free. We'll get money for him. That's the only thing keeping me going, J-Ross, is that hope. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just thankful it's off season. I don't have to stress about it too much because the hope is it's at the floor. And I'm usually the optimistic one about the Sounders, and I'm defeated. I'm just defeated. I don't even have words to describe it. But I guess we let Brody rant. We let Brody, release some steam from his ears. I think it's Fatty's turn. Fatty, it'd be rude not to talk about it for a little bit. We are all Seattle, all Washington sports. What is going on with Wazoo?
Yeah, I guess we could kind of transition this to our naughty and nice segment because he's already on there for me. So I'll just go ahead and go first to wrap up the show. But yeah, Jimmy Rogers, the fuck, dude? What are you doing? And that caught me by surprise, obviously, with how crazy the college football coaching carousel has been this year. Penn State really sitting on their asses and not finding anybody, so they decided to hire Matt Campbell, Iowa State's head coach, who did a pretty good job at Iowa State. He will not do a good job at Penn State. He was their 90th option, and that's fine. That's fine. But then all of a sudden, Jimmy Rogers, his lifelong dream was to become the checks notes Iowa State head football coach. Was a little bit crazy. So the initial move caught me by surprise. He obviously was at WSU for 1 year, going 6-6. So I was a little shocked at the move, but then all of a sudden the stories started coming out. Jimmy Rogers had been in contact with Iowa State's AD throughout his entire coaching career, and he always said, hey, what is it going to take for me to be the next head coach of Iowa State football? And at the time, he was at South Dakota State, where he won 2 FCS national titles. Well, the AD told him, hey, you need a little bit more experience. And then when Washington State hired him and the Iowa State AD came out to congratulate him, he said, hey, really quick, why Washington State? And he replied, because you said I need more experience. Cementing WSU as sort of how other people view our school as a stepping stone school is just disgusting. And it pisses me off because now without an AD, without a quarterback, and now without a coach going into our bowl game and going into the new Pac-12, it's terrible timing. But I am very excited to see what our new president and interim AD can put together. There's a lot of great candidates out there, but that is just the slimy nature of college football. Jimmy Rogers can go fuck himself, and he is on my naughty list for indefinitely. Shifting toward my nice list is Carlos Cardoza. Mariners' new third base coach. We just hired him after he logged his time in the minors. He was recently the manager of the Frisco Rough Riders of the Texas League. He's been in the minors for 10 years, so this is his first opportunity on a major league coaching staff. So very excited for him. Couldn't really think of anybody else on my nice list lately outside of the Seahawks, so he's going to be on my nice list. Best of luck to him, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to the coaching staff. Anybody else? Take the heat off me.
I'll take a couple back steps. Basically, we thought it's around the holiday season. We're going to end these episodes. Once holiday season's over, we'll find a new name for it. But a naughty and nice section, we're all going to rattle off, one Seattle-related sports topic that, pisses us off a little bit. And someone who's on the nice list that will be getting presents this time of year. And I guess, Brody, we can go to you. Who's on your nice list?
Yeah, before I do that, I just want to say, whenever Fatty gets going about college sports, dude, whatever 5 or so 2 to 5 minute segment we have on college sports, it will weekly feed families, feed generations, seeing him talk about college sports, dude.
I hate it,
dude. It's just another level, man. But yeah, for me, my nice list is Nick Emanwari, Seattle Seahawks rookie corner / safety / I guess linebacker. I mean, the dude's basically our Kyle Hamilton, obviously of the Ravens. Of course, we got Mike McDonald from the Ravens. I mean, Kyle Hamilton today especially, I mean, he would have been on my nice list even before today. And, of course, against the Falcons, I think he had, obviously the blocked field goal, he had another sack, and then did he have a pick or something?
Yeah.
He was just all over the place,
so inspirational, man.
Dude, he's just our chess piece, man. He's our fantastic chess piece, and in my opinion, my unbiased, correct opinion, should be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Of course, Seattle Seahawks fans are used to us being snubbed for that award, right? But, I think he's fantastic. And, of course, on a defense with Devon Witherspoon and Leonard Williams, and, of course, our first-round pick from last year, Byron Murphy. Ernest Jones having a great season, just got extended. I just want to give him a shout-out because, dude, this guy, when he's healthy, he's such a chess piece, and Mike can just do whatever he wants, however he sees fit, and it's just phenomenal. And to go back to the Sounders here, my naughty list, it's Craig Weibel, it's Craigie Dubs, and dude, if we did this, yeah, big shocker, especially if we had done this show for the last several years, he probably would have been there every single week. Yeah, Craig Weibel, man, it's not just this Leyva / I guess Obed situation. It's just we've seen a pattern of him dealing with. It's so weird. His pattern with younger players, especially, it's just so weird. Before, obviously, the Leo Chu situation, a $4 million offer turned down just to end up trading him for a value of less than $500K as an add-on to get Jesus Ferreira. It's just a constant theme of and then you go Sam Adeniran, who we got rid of for pennies, and now he's scoring goals in, I think, the Austrian Bundesliga or something, which is a solid league. Just overall with him, it's just frustrating to see his handling of young players. And, I'm struggling to see the direction here. Really, I am. It's like you don't want to make profit off the young players. You don't want to even play the young players, so you ship them off to Mexico for fucking $1 million, and then you like make these key players be like 30-year-old injury-prone guys. I don't. It just screams fifth place every year, bounce in the first round. Maybe we slip and fall, stumble into a conference final. It's just he'll forever be on my naughty list until he goes, unless something drastic happens. Yeah.
That's a spirit. I like it. Happy guy. Well, I guess I'll move to my list, and now I'll start with my naughty list, which because of his history, he qualifies as Seattle sports topic. Pete Carroll, you are on my naughty list. I don't like you. I've lost all respect for you. Anyone
you
that
lost a lot of parlays because of him, probably.
Yes, and that's exactly why. For anyone that doesn't know, depending when he got in, the Broncos were, or I guess the line was 7.5 or 8.5 whenever you got into the game for the Broncos Raiders today. And it was a 10-point game with 16 seconds left. There was some BS delay, a game call on the defense which stopped the clock. Someone should be investigated. And then the Raiders went and kicked a field goal with 4 seconds left to put the game to 7 points, costing, don't gamble, kids, I didn't have any money on the game, but costing so much money to so many people. And because of that, all of the happiness, the Super Bowl, all of that from Pete Carroll, I've lost because I am pissed. Not for me. Don't gamble, kids. Gambling's not good, and I didn't have money on the game. But I know a lot of people that did, and I'm mad for them, of course. Not for me. And for my nice list, I'm actually going to change it. I'm going to shout out the Seattle Torrent because first dub, the PWHL.
Yeah.
Stand up, ladies. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Welcome, PWHL to Seattle. We saw them pack out Climate Pledge for a disappointing game, but they were able to get their first win on a late rally the other night. I mean, it's sick to see another good sports team in Seattle, another good fan base in Seattle. We set that attendance record. So it's just awesome to see, and kind of a sport that, I mean, women's hockey is kind of rapidly growing in this area, hockey in general, but see the girls' side of the game is awesome to see. And I like seeing that a lot more than I like watching the Raiders or Pete Carroll coach. So that's far and away going to be my nice list. But
he can't hurt us anymore.
He still can, and he did. A lot of people.
Bet on him. Just don't bet on him, and then he's gone forever.
Blame it on me. Blame it on Gino. Blame it on him. Your parlay don't cash. Blame it on Gino.
But I guess we've all gotten our steam out. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be episode 1 of Sound on Sports. Catch us every week on our YouTube channel. Follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram, all the platforms. We got a lot of fun stuff coming. We're going to have some game shows, some trivia, episodes like this. We'll get a true schedule figured out sooner or later. But for now, once a week, 3 Seattle sports guys yapping. Boys, anything you want to say before we leave?
Super excited. Very excited to be a part of this show. Feel free to give us all individually a follow on X, add Dwyer Fatlin, and then obviously Sound on Sports. J. Ross and Brody are both on there as well. But yeah, really, really excited to ring in 2026 with something that's going to be a fun passion project for us.
Yeah, and of course we're going to have our hopefully weekly shows, but we'll have a lot of other fun stuff too coming up, like just short reels, like trivia, we'll find some good stuff to give you guys, and you'll just be prepared for that. And of course, I mean, I can speak definitely not for J. Ross, but I will definitely be going to the casino and betting the Raiders spread for this weekend. I don't know about you guys. It just seems like if it's not hitting for not you, because you definitely didn't bet on it. If it's not hitting for other people, then maybe it'll hit for me. We'll see.
Well, now that I'm extra pissed off, we will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you guys later.